All right, so today we're diving deep into pet insurance in New Zealand, specifically Cove Insurance. You sent over some materials from their website. We're going to see if they actually live up to that best claim. See if they might be the best for your furry friend.
Yeah, sounds good. Best can be a slippery word. Marketing is good at that sort of thing. So let's peel back the layers.
Exactly. We've got their three plans here, the accident only, major, and the major plus minor. Each one seems to be for different needs and different budgets. But before we get into those, can you give us a quick rundown of how pet insurance works in New Zealand?
Sure. I mean, it's like other insurance in a lot of ways, but there's some pet-specific stuff. The big thing is excesses. It's how much you pay up front when you make a claim. Higher excess usually means lower monthly payments. So it's a trade-off.
Right, so if you're feeling lucky, you can go with a higher excess and save a bit each month. But what about those shared costs? When you pay a percentage of the bill.
Oh, those are co-payments. Pretty normal in pet insurance. It's the percentage of each claim that you have to pay. On top of the excess, of course.
Okay, so let's say my mischievous cat climbs a tree and falls, and I get a vet bill for like $500. If I have a 20% copay and a $100 excess, would I end up paying $200?
Yeah, you got it. So you got to look at both excesses and co-payments when you compare plans. They can really make a difference in how much you end up paying.
Got it. Now, pre-existing conditions, I hear those can be a real problem with pet insurance.
Yeah, pre-existing conditions are usually not covered. Basically, if your pet has something wrong before you get the insurance, then it won't be covered. Pretty much how it works everywhere, not just Cove.
Okay, good to know. What about waiting periods? Is that like the time you have to wait after you get the insurance before you can actually use it?
Pretty much. It's how long you've got to wait after you buy the policy before you can claim for something specific. Good news is, with Cove, there's no waiting period for accidental injuries. There is the 21-day wait for illnesses, though. And get this, 6 months for cruciate ligament conditions. Could be a problem for some dog owners.
All right, so we've got excesses, co-payments, pre-existing conditions, and waiting periods. Now, let's look at these Cove plans. Accident only seems to be the cheapest. What exactly does it cover?
Well, it's just accidents, these unexpected things. Code has this story on their site about Mia, who chose this plan. She just wanted to be covered if, say, her dog got hit by a car, but she was okay with paying for illnesses herself.
Makes sense. So it's for people who are worried about big, sudden accidents, but they're happy to deal with illness costs themselves. Are there any limits on how much they'll pay?
Well, with accident only, there's a $5,000 yearly limit. That's the max they'll pay in a year. Oh, and there's a 10% copay, too.
Okay, so keep that limit in mind, especially if you have a really bad accident. Let's move on to major. Their website says it's their most popular. What makes it so popular?
Major is all about those big vet bills that can really hurt your savings. Accidents and illnesses are covered, but it focuses on those big expenses, not your routine checkups or anything like that. There's this guy, Nicole, they talk about, who went with major. He wanted to be covered if something big happened, but he didn't mind handling the day-to-day costs.
So it's a good middle ground. You get protection against the big stuff, but you don't pay for things you might not use.
Exactly. And you get a $25,000 yearly limit. Much better than the accident only. Still has that 10% copay, though.
That's a big difference in coverage. So what exactly does major cover?
Lots of things. Cruciate ligament problems, which you see in some dog breeds.
Yeah.
Hereditary conditions. Cancer treatment, which can be really expensive. Even eye, ear, and skin problems. Oh, and parasite problems, those are common in New Zealand.
Wow. That is a lot. It seems like they're trying to cover the big stuff, the things that can really cause financial problems for pet owners. Now, their last plan, major plus minor. What makes this one different?
Well, like the name says, it covers more. Big and small vet bills. For those who want to be extra safe, knowing they're covered for everything, Cove talks about Matilda, who got this for her new cat. She wanted to be totally covered.
So this is the top of the line plan, but does it cost a lot more? Are there any downsides?
Well, you still get the $25,000 yearly limit, like with major, but the copay goes up to 20%, so you do pay more for each claim.
Okay, a bit of a trade-off. More coverage, but you pay more of the costs yourself. Anything else we should know about major plus minor?
Oh yeah, they have optional extras for dental and everyday care. Could be good if you want things like routine checkups or vaccinations covered, even teeth cleaning.
So even more coverage on top of the already comprehensive coverage.
Interesting. Okay, so we talked about the basics of pet insurance here, and we looked at Cove's 3 plans. What about those special things they talk about on their site? What stood out to you?
Well, it seems like they really want to help pet owners save money. They have a discount for puppies and kittens, one if you insure multiple pets, and one if you pay annually.
Discounts. Everyone loves those. Tell me more, starting with the puppy and kitten one.
Yeah, if your pet is under 6 months old, you get 3 vouchers, each worth up to $100. Really helps, especially in those first few months when you're going to the vet all the time for shots and checkups.
That's pretty generous. So Cove's trying to help out new puppy and kitten owners. What about that multi-pet discount?
That's if you have more than one pet. You can save up to 10%. Good way to insure your whole furry family without breaking the bank.
Nice. Shared savings for those who share their love with multiple pets. And the last one, the annual discount. What's the catch? No catch. You just get up to 10% off if you pay for the whole year at once. Good for those who like to pay everything up front and save a bit.
Okay, so they have 3 ways to save: puppy kitten, multi-pet, and annual. It seems like they understand that pet insurance can be expensive, and they're trying to help people out.
Yeah, I think that's important. It's not just about selling you something. It's about making it work for you.
Now, no one likes dealing with complicated claims, especially when your pet is sick. How does Cove handle claims?
Well, they say it's simple. 3 steps. Take care of your pet, submit the claim online, and get your money back.
Sounds simple enough, but what does that actually look like?
Well, first, you get your pet to the vet. Then you go online to their website or use the MyCove app. You tell them what happened, give them the vet's invoice, and any other paperwork.
So it's all digital, no need to be on the phone forever or deal with tons of paper. Once you submit the claim, what happens then?
Cove looks at it, checks the documents. If everything's good, they pay you back. They do say it depends on having a valid claim, of course.
So they're all about making things easy and efficient, which is what you want when you're stressed about your pet. Anything else special about their claims process?
Well, they really seem to focus on being transparent. They tell you exactly what's covered, what's not, and how it all works. Helps you know what to expect.
Transparency is super important with insurance. Before we finish up this part of our Cove deep dive, what's their overall philosophy? What are they trying to do in the pet insurance world?
They say their goal is to be the best in New Zealand. And they want to do that through great customer service, easy online stuff, and really good coverage.
Ambitious. We'll have to see if they can actually do it. We've got a lot more to talk about. Stay tuned for part 2 of our Cove deep dive. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Cove itself, but let's zoom out for a second. How does Cove fit into, like, the whole pet ownership thing in New Zealand? I mean, not everyone has pet insurance, right?
Yeah, good point. It's interesting how many people actually insure their pets here. I saw some numbers from stuff.co.nz. It said that about 1 in 10 cat owners have insurance. But for dog owners, it's 1 in 5.
That's interesting. More dog owners than cat owners, huh? Why do you think that is?
Well, I guess there could be a few reasons. Dogs, some breeds especially, are more likely to get those expensive cruciate ligament injuries. So maybe that pushes people towards insurance. Plus, dogs often need to go to the vet more often for things like vaccinations.
Yeah, that makes sense. And maybe people think dogs need more protection because they're out and about more. Like, they might get into accidents on walks or run into other animals, whereas cats are more independent, so less risky.
Yeah, could be. But it also shows that a lot of people, cat and dog owners, they're still deciding if insurance is worth it.
Definitely. Those numbers from stuff.co.nz show that a lot of people haven't gotten it yet. Maybe it's the cost, or maybe they just don't know what it covers.
Probably a mix of things. But vet bills can get really expensive. So it's worth looking into for anyone with a pet. Doesn't matter if it's a cat, a dog, or even a pig, I guess.
Totally. Speaking of unexpected costs, I noticed that Cove's website has more than just the usual insurance stuff. That whole section on carica berries was interesting.
Yeah, that was cool. They're actually trying to help people keep their pets safe, not just selling insurance. Carica berries are really dangerous for dogs here in New Zealand. And Cove tells you all about the risks, what happens if your dog eats them. Even has a map of where the trees are so you can avoid them.
It's like they're going above and beyond, being a resource for pet owners, not just an insurance company. It makes you trust them more, shows they care about pets.
For sure. Fits with that whole best thing they're going for.
Speaking of best, what actually makes Cove different from other pet insurance companies here? Do they offer anything unique?
Good question. They have all the usual stuff like coverage options, discounts, good claims process. But I don't see anything super different from other good companies.
So they're doing the basics well.
Yeah, which is important.
Maybe that's their best angle.
The whole package, good basics, good customer service, and they care about pets. It all adds up. They're also big on being transparent, giving you all the information, and everything's online, easy to use. might appeal to people who are comfortable with technology.
Yeah, that makes sense. And those discounts are pretty good, too.
Definitely. Especially if you have a lot of pets or a young one. They're trying to make insurance more affordable.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. What about things Cove doesn't cover? Every insurance has limitations, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. They cover a lot, but there are some things to watch out for, like routine things, vaccinations, flea and tick stuff. That's usually not covered under the major plan, unless you get the major plus minor and add the everyday care option.
Okay, so you got to read the fine print, make sure you know what you're getting.
Exactly. And remember those waiting periods. 6 months for cruciate ligament things. Important to know that beforehand.
Got it. The details are important. Would you say Cove is upfront about all this? Do they make it easy to understand?
Yeah, I think so. Their website explains everything pretty clearly. They even have a big FAQ section.
That's good. So, what are some of the most important things people should consider when choosing pet insurance? With Cove or any other company?
Well, the biggest thing is, what does your pet need? Breed, age, health history, all that. What kind of lifestyle do they have? Are they a couch potato or do they love adventures?
So, you're matching the insurance to your pet, not just getting the cheapest or most expensive thing.
Exactly. And think about your own budget. What can you afford each month? Remember, a higher excess means lower monthly payments, but you'll pay more if something happens.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot. And don't forget about those discounts. They can really add up.
Okay, so we've talked about Cove's plans, their discounts, their claims process, even how they compare to other companies.
And we talked about pet insurance in general in New Zealand and how many people actually have it.
We have even more to talk about. Stay tuned for part 3 of our Cove Deep Dive. All right, we're back for the last part of our Cove Insurance Deep Dive. We've covered a lot, but now it's time to see what this all means for you.
Yeah, we looked at all the details. But the real question is, does Cove work for you?
Exactly. I think the big thing we learned is that there's no one perfect pet insurance. It's about finding what's best for you and your pet.
Totally. Every pet is different, every owner is different, every situation is different.
So how can people use what we talked about today to make a good decision? What should they be thinking about?
Well, think about your pet first. What breed are they? How old are they? Are they healthy? What kind of life do they have?
So match the insurance to your pet, not just go for the cheapest option.
Right. And think about your own money situation. What can you actually afford each month? Remember, a higher excess means lower monthly payments, but you pay more if you have to make a claim.
It's all about balance.
And don't forget those discounts.
Yeah, those can really help. Now, what about customer reviews? What are people saying about Coach? Are they really good at customer service, like they say?
Well, that's important. I've seen a lot of reviews, and they seem pretty good.
Yep.
People like their website. They say Cove is easy to get in touch with. And the claims process seems smooth.
That's good to hear. Happy customers usually mean the company is doing something right. Anything else we should think about?
Always read the fine print. Look at what's covered, what's not covered, and those waiting periods.
Good point. It's better to know everything up front. Don't be afraid to ask questions either.
Yeah, talk to Cove directly or other people who've used them.
Get all the information you can.
And remember, things change. Your pet might need different coverage later on. So check your insurance every year and make sure it still works.
Like a checkup for your pet insurance.
Exactly.
So we've talked about a lot with Cove Insurance.
Their plans, their discounts, their claims, everything.
We even looked at how they compare to other companies.
And we talked about pet insurance in general here in New Zealand.
Now, for one last thing, a question for everyone listening.
Okay, what is it?
Think about this. Besides the money stuff, what does peace of mind really mean to you when it comes to your pet?
That's a good one. It's about more than just money, isn't it?
It's about knowing you can take care of your pet no matter what happens.
Without worrying about the cost.
Exactly.
It's about having that safety net. So you can focus on your pet's health and happiness.
We hope this deep dive into Cove Insurance has helped you. Now you have the information to make the best decision for your pet.
We hope everyone's pets stay happy and healthy.
And remember, knowledge is power. And when it comes to your pet, peace of mind is priceless. Thanks for listening.